Hello guys, welcome back. So today I'm going to be fulfilling a very highly requested video, and that would be editing my Instagram pictures. But I don't want to just talk about how I edit them because I feel like when talking about just the filters I use, that can be a bit redundant, and the way that I like to edit my pictures might not be the same way that you like to edit yours. So 90% of the pictures that I take are going to be on my iPhone 10. The other 10% are going to be with my Canon 60D, but that's only pictures where I'm traveling or where my mom is just carrying around the camera, because I don't want to be carrying that around with me 24/7. But I also want to talk about tips and tricks that I use when it comes to posing for pictures on Instagram, the kind of algorithm and proportioning that I use whenever posting a picture, and basically just anything else that in my opinion can better an Instagram theme. And for all the different sections that I talk about things, I'm gonna have timestamps down below that you guys can skip to if you only want to hear about certain little things that I talk about. Now I'm just gonna go ahead and make this disclaimer. I'm not any kind of professional Instagrammer. I don't make money off my Instagram pictures or anything. I've just kind of learned throughout the years of using Instagram just kind of tips that I like to do, and I thought I would share those with you guys today. So first things first, I want to go ahead and get out of the way my process of how I edit a picture for Instagram. So usually the very first thing that I will do is I will go into VSCO. So once I go ahead and open up VSCO and import my photo and do all that jazz, then I'm just going to choose my filter. So the filter that I use predominantly on my Instagram is E5, and most of the time I'll go ahead and lower that down just a little bit. And then what I like to do is just go into exposure and put that down just a little bit as well. And I don't typically do this a lot, but sometimes I will put the saturation up just a little bit. Like if you saw my most recent Instagram picture, I went ahead and put up the saturation on that just a little because I did like the blue in the background. But for this, I'm just going to keep it no saturation. Then I go into white balance, and I like to make the tint a little bit more on the pink side. And I don't usually touch temperature unless I need to make it warmer, but other than that, I won't make it cooler or anything. And then sometimes I'll go into skin tone and make that a little bit on the pinkier side as well. Then last but not least, what I'll do for a picture is go into grain, and I will go ahead and boost that up a little. I really like to use heavier grain because I feel like it gives that more vintage retro feel to a picture. And then that's pretty much it, what I'll do just for a classic selfie. Okay, so now I'm just going to show you guys what I would do for a full body picture. So again, I'll just go into VSCO, and I'm just going to choose this picture that I took while I was in Korea. And then for this one, I actually ended up doing E1 because I felt like E5 kind of made the colors a bit more bland. I wanted something that would boost up the colors a bit more without me having to add more saturation to it, so I just went ahead and chose E1. Basically for me, whenever it comes to picking out a filter, I don't limit myself to just that one preset. I like to just kind of play around with a couple different ones, typically in that E category. And then I'll go into another app that I'll be mentioning later. It's called UNtitled, and I like to go ahead and make sure that that matches the theme. And because that picture was so sunny and bright, I didn't lower the exposure or anything. I wanted to keep a lot of the color in it. But I did, however, go into grain again and then add just a little bit of grain just to, again, give it that more vintage vibe. The only other photo editing app that I'll use is Facetune, and the only thing I'll use on Facetune is the whitening tool, and that's just if I have anything on that's white or if anything in my background is white, but other than that, I don't use it for anything. Okay, so now that I have my picture edited, now it's time to see if it matches with the rest of my theme. So first of all, I want to talk about before I even take the picture, and sometimes this is the case, or if sometimes it's just kind of in the moment, then obviously I won't really worry about this. But if I'm planning to take a picture and then to post this onto Instagram, I will kind of have this in the back of my head. So the little trick that I use is that if I previously have posted a full body picture, then the next picture that I'll post will be more up close, or it will be perhaps a selfie, and vice versa. This kind of just helps my theme to have an even structure, and so it's not all just selfie, 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 and then full body random picture. So anyway, once that's all kind of taken into consideration and we have the photo and it's edited, I'm gonna go ahead and insert it into an app called Untitled, the one that I mentioned earlier. So this actually allows you to insert a picture into your theme before you post, just to make sure that it all looks nice and flows well. Okay, so I just went ahead and imported a picture, and as you can see, I wouldn't probably post this. So obviously this picture that I inserted just now isn't edited, but I just wanted to give you guys an example of a full body shot right next to a selfie rather than the selfie next to the selfie. I feel like it definitely flows a lot better and it just looks a lot nicer, and obviously, like I keep saying, this is just my personal opinion. So anyway, I hope that kind of helps some of you if you're having more trouble rather than editing the picture, more trouble with just the theme layout itself. So this next one I feel like is something that can really boost up an Instagram picture, but also this is one that most people are really unsure about whenever it comes to pictures, and that would be posing. So I feel like my biggest advice that I could give someone that wants to take better Instagram pictures or wants to get better at their posing would be just to do natural things, natural body movements, not to look too stiff or awkward, because obviously if you wanted a more candid shot and you have your hands in your pockets and you're sitting there like stiff and smiling, that's not going to look as natural as if you were perhaps moving around, looking off to the side, playing with your hair, something of that nature. And that's something else you can see a lot throughout my Instagram feed, is just kind of like natural body language posing. And don't get me wrong, whenever it comes to these pictures, you obviously have to be, you know, like kind of thinking of like the pose that you're doing, but I also feel like when it comes to these, it's best to have whoever is taking the picture just to be like continually taking pictures rather than just like sitting there like counting 1, 2, 3 whenever a picture is taken. And speaking of the person taking your picture, people ask me a lot of times, who is the person taking your picture? And a lot of the times it's my mom, because I'm always with her and I can definitely trust her to get a good angle on me. But I have to say, I am that annoying friend that if I see a cute location whenever I go out with a group of people, then I'm always like, hey, can you take my picture? Because I don't want to miss that opportunity. So the last thing I want to talk about is lighting that I use for my photos. So I'm sure a lot of you guys always hear about people saying, oh, use golden hour. Golden hour is the perfect time. Although I do agree golden hour is like super gorgeous to take pictures and usually the pictures always come out really pretty, I do find that sometimes it can be very hit or miss because I have to be very prepared for whenever golden hour hits to take that picture. So probably my favorite lighting for pictures is going to be like morning or like early afternoon, because usually the sun is super bright at that time, but if I like stand in a window and take the picture, it's gonna be like that perfect contrast of light. It's my personal favorite to use direct or indirect sunlight, but if I don't have that and the sun's kind of setting and I don't have much light anymore, then I will obviously use my flash because it's just the way I'm gonna get the crispest and brightest photo. However, for some reason, what I notice is on the iPhone X, it creates a really prominent red eye, so if anyone knows how to get rid of that, please let me know. So yeah, I hope this video might have helped you guys regarding some of like the questions that you might have had about my Instagram pictures and how I edit and just other tips and tricks that I use in general. Hopefully that helped some of you out there. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a big like and also make sure to hit that subscribe button down below to be notified whenever I make a new one. And yep, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye bye!